What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some more r/Am I the Butthole? If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below, but if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too, as it all really helps out our channel. Now, just a huge thank you for taking the time out of your day to be here, spend a little time, listen to a story or two, really does mean the world to me, so thank you so much. And with that being said, let's crack on with today's stories. Much love, guys. Now, our first story comes from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for kicking my stepbrother and his friends out after what they did at my engagement party? I'm male 30, have a younger stepbrother, Kevin, 22. I let him move into my old apartment and paid cheaper rent along with his two other friends because they're struggling with college, needed a cheaper place but couldn't find. I'd help him out by getting his car fixed, lend him money, bring him meals. I take care of my mum who's at the hospital. My fiance and I decided to have a small celebration at a restaurant, 8 people. There were a lot of people I wanted, including mum, but couldn't. I have high blood pressure that, despite medication, gets worse. Kevin wanted to bring his friends to my engagement party. I declined and explained that we're having a small celebration. He was upset but then dropped it. We got to the restaurant and just as we started eating, I got a call from Kevin saying he's at the hospital where mum's staying. I asked him why and he sounded worried, telling me my mum was very sick and that I needed to get there because it seemed like she was having a stroke. I dropped my fork. My fiance and parents noticed how pale I was. I hung up and I was getting ready to leave. They asked what was going on and I told them mum was very sick and I needed to go to the hospital. Fiance wanted to come but I didn't take her. I got there, I went to the nurses who were handling my mum's care and they denied her having any sudden issues, let alone a stroke. I couldn't stand on my feet. I called Kevin several times until he picked up. He started laughing along with the others in the background. I was confused. He told me it was a prank and that I fell for it. He said we're even since they couldn't show up at my engagement party. I started yelling at him till he hung up. My fiance's parents were calling. I felt terrible because I didn't know what to tell them. It was a prank. My fiance's family thought I was lying. I kept saying my mum's doing okay. I drove to my apartment where Kevin was staying, got into an argument with him and his buddies. I yelled at them for ruining my engagement dinner and causing me stress knowing I have high blood pressure. I told them to pack their things and move out. Kevin started begging, saying I can't do this over a prank. They had nowhere to go. I told him it wasn't my problem. They kept saying it was a prank and they didn't expect me to react like that. Then they left. My aunt called me, saying Kevin was an arsehole for what he did, but kicking him out was extreme and I was too harsh on him. Eventually, that's my brother and I need to be supportive of him, even though he's acting stupid. I take some of the blame as my fiance said they did things before and I should have stopped them, but I couldn't imagine them going this far. Kevin's mum is deceased. I helped him with whatever I can because I know he's struggling. His aunt isn't my biological aunt, but I respect her enough to consider her family. But defending this behaviour isn't acceptable. Hell no, that is not a prank in this situation. That is absolutely awful behaviour. Who would sit there and come up with this and think that is an okay move to do something like that? If I was OP in this situation, I would be kicking their asses out too. And I hate this whole thing these days of, oh, it's a prank, so everything should be okay with that, right? I mean, come on, I see it on all the time, and this is not quite as extreme as what we're seeing here, but I see it like, and I was browsing TikTok the other day, forgive me, Lord. And there was this guy just walking around to random security guards and stuff and smashing a pie in their face and then running off, and then they film it and everyone thinks it's funny. Yay, views for everyone. All apart from this bloody guy who's just trying to do his job. But it's okay because it's just a prank. Oh, I'm going off on one, I know. But yeah, absolutely not the arsehole in this situation. But DSZ said, are you kidding me with this post? I believe you, it's too insane to make up. I have no words other than, obviously not the arsehole, obviously not the arsehole. And then quotes, my aunt called me saying Kevin was an arsehole for what he did, but kicking him out was extreme, and I was too harsh on him. Eventually that's my brother and I need to be supportive of him, though he's acting stupid. And then says, let your aunt take his prank ass in then. And Crafty Mummerfish says not the arsehole, he sounds like a cruel and vindictive individual. Kick him out, cut all ties, bye Felicia, ain't nobody got time for silly business like that. And 7-Leaf Clover says not the arsehole, that was not a prank, it was downright cruel. Kick him out and sublease the apartment to someone else. If he thinks that's even remotely funny, you'll be teaching him a valuable lesson by throwing him out. And Rice Correct says, not the arsehole, Kevin sounds cruel and I wouldn't want to live with that kind of nastiness. What he did wasn't a prank, it was cruel and on an important, meaningful day for you. He didn't expect you to react like that. He made you think your mum was really sick and disrupted your engagement dinner. He surely knows you're on blood pressure medication. Anyone knows that you don't purposely try to scare someone who has high blood pressure. It's dangerous. Kevin is acting childish and needs to grow up. He can start by finding his own place to live on his own. And Squid Ulacra says, not the arsehole. That's something to expect from an immature middle schooler, but he's an adult. Kick him the fuck out. Now, I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? An absolute crazy one to get started with. But let's have a look at the next post. And our next story comes from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for not telling my girlfriend about a scholarship because I thought she could get it instead of me? I, 18 male, and my girlfriend, 17 female, are from some country that's hard to get out of. We've been looking for ways to study abroad for a long time now, to no avail. So we settled for local universities and agreed to get out of here once graduated. About a month and a half ago, I decided to give it another shot, bought some scholarship finder behind some paywall, put in my country of origin, and bam, I stumbled upon an exclusive full scholarships for 2 people only from my country. Reading through it, said that if most things were equal, then female students would be preferred and selected. And knowing me and my girlfriend's stats are quite close, I decided not to tell her, and I applied not expecting to be accepted at all. Last week, I got an email telling me I was selected for that very generous scholarship. I haven't told my girlfriend yet because I'm convinced it will probably damage our relationship, so I want to do it in the least damaging way possible. I feel really guilty because me and my girlfriend have already agreed and set up most things, including where and how we would stay together in the same apartment that we were going to rent. Am I the arsehole, Reddit? Because I sure feel like one. What I don't get about this one is it says it was for 2 people, so surely you could have told her and you would have still both had a chance. Although she may have been the preferred one, there would have still been another position which you may have filled out, right? Am I wrong in thinking that? I might be wrong, so please educate me if I am. So I think there might be sort of slight arsehole tendencies just for that, so you could have still had the same chance. But even if that wasn't the case, I think you wouldn't be the arsehole because you did the work trying to find that scholarship anyway. So you put the work in to try and find it, but I think again you would be the arsehole because you've left it a whole month and you know your plans have changed, which is going to affect both of your futures, and you didn't disclose that information to her afterwards and you've left it for this long. So I think that again would make you the arsehole, and again I might be wrong here. So as I said, always happy to be educated, so please let me know. But let's check out some of the comments below to see what they say. I'm going to start off with But Liz Said So saying, you're the arsehole not for accepting or applying to the scholarship, but for not telling her about it. If 2 people could win, you might have both won and be going together, but you were being selfish and didn't want her to get it and you not to. You worked to prevent the situation that she is now in. And Stairs Motherfuckerly says, in quote, saying, it said that if most things were equal, then female students would be preferred and selected, and then says, that's why you didn't tell her, even though 2 people would be selected and you and your girlfriend had similar stats. And then quotes again saying, me and my girlfriend already agreed and set up most things, including where and how we would stay together in the same apartment that we were going to rent. And then says, she is on a different page than you. You're lying by omission. You made a plan and you're bowing out. You're the arsehole. And Check34 says, you purposely withheld info from her that would have been extremely valuable and are possibly leaving despite making plans with her to stay. You're the arsehole, prepare to be single. And Always More Dog says, not the arsehole, there are a bunch of children on this thread. Realistically, one way or another, you were going to break up with this girl. You're 18 and 17 and this was your first relationship. Like you said, this opportunity is life-changing for you and is much more important. Imagine how you'd feel if you'd told her and she got the scholarship and you hadn't. Then you'd be breaking up anyway because she would be going overseas and you would have lost the chance. You did the right thing for yourself and you didn't take anything away from her. You did the work to find this scholarship and apply for it. She could have done the same if she wanted. Don't set yourself on fire to keep others warm. Good luck with your education. One final thing, you do need to tell her ASAP because it impacts on her plans, re finding an apartment and rent, etc., since you were planning to live together. If you don't tell her quickly, that would make you a bit of an asshole, as she now needs time to make new arrangements for herself. Now, I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Is OP the arsehole or not? Or do you have a different opinion? Let me know in the comments below. And our next story is from Dusty Bookshade. Am I the arsehole for giving my best friend my money without consulting my wife? Throwaway. I, 32 male, have been together with my wife, Erin, 31 female, for 7 years now, married for 3 years. We have a daughter, Evelyn, 1.5 female. I have a best friend who I grew up with, Sarah, 32 female. We were neighbours from age 4, went to the same college and lived together as roommates until I got married. My wife and Sarah aren't best friends. They have never really gotten along, but they remain cordial with each other. My wife insists that Sarah is in love with me. She isn't. We are more like siblings since we are the only child of our parents, and they even refer to both of us as their kids. Besides, Sarah is bi, but has only been dating women in all of our adult lives. My wife and I make roughly around the same salary. I make 85k a year and she makes 87k a year. We split everything and designate a set amount for our joint savings accounts, emergency, vacation and regular savings. We get to spend the remainder of our money on whatever we want. I don't consult her when I use my money, and neither does she. Sarah has wanted to be a lawyer since we were in high school. She decided to take a gap year after undergrad, and that gap year turned into many years. She lost her job last March due to the pandemic and decided to the LSAT, which I'm guessing after a quick Google is law school admission test. I might be wrong there, that might be just a misspelling, to finally go to law school. She couldn't afford all the high-end tutors and program, but ended up doing really well. She has depleted most of her savings and I'm pretty sure she's down to her last dollar, but she hasn't asked me for a cent through all of this. She finalised all her applications for law schools but didn't have enough money to pay for it all. She mentioned it in passing that she has about 60% of the cost, but that means she'd have to eat ramen for the next month, so I decided to send her money. She was extremely grateful and promised to pay it back. I told her not to. My wife found out from a mutual friend that I paid for the application fees, and she's livid that I didn't consult her. I don't think I should have, since it wasn't money from our joint account, but my individual account. She's given me the cold shoulder, and she's now asking for the complete separation of finances. ETA, since many people have asked this, I gave Sarah about 3k. In the past, both my wife and I have given people money without consulting each other. I think her issue is primarily with the fact that the money was given to Sarah. And there is a small update which we will cover in a second. The vibes I was getting from this one is like, and as always, if I am wrong, please tell me so, but the feeling I was getting in this one is that, you know, your wife is uncomfortable with this other woman, with Sarah, although you have been lifelong friends and although your finances are separated and you spend it on whatever you want, you're spending your money on a person your wife is not comfortable with anyway. I personally think that you knew this would cause issues and that's why it wasn't brought up. Even though you don't tell each other about what you spend your personal money on, you must have known this was going to cause an issue, and you could have approached the situation beforehand and said, look, I'm going to give this money to Sarah, what do you think about it? Rather than it feels like a bit in the shadows, if you know what I mean. And I might be wrong in saying that, but that's the way it feels to me anyway. But Soul says, you're the arsehole. 1. Even though you don't normally consult your wife for every monetary transaction, this is different. You gave money to a girl that your wife feels is too close to you and thinks is in love with you. Even if she is wrong about Sarah being in love with you, her feelings are understandable given how close you are, but you decided not to consider her feelings at all. 2. The fact that you didn't tell your wife means you knew she wouldn't be okay with it, and you did it anyway. 3. The fact that a mutual friend knew before your wife is a slap in the face to your wife. And BBB Rash Bash says, you're the arsehole. Let's Shoe is on the other foot this. Your wife has a male friend she's known since she was a kid. They're extremely close and lived together for years. You don't like this man, and you feel he's harboring some sort of more than friend feelings for your wife. You express this to your wife, she brushes it off and maintains the close bond she has with the man. So you try to suck it up and play nice, because hey, they've been friends for years, and just maybe you aren't so sure if it came down to it that your wife would distance herself from him if you asked. Even though you're supposed to be life partners and have a child together, it's a source of tension and insecurity. Then you find out that one day, from someone else, that your wife gave him money and never mentioned it. Didn't bring it up that this friend is having a hard time. Didn't mention in passing she was thinking of giving him money. Didn't mention that money was given. Didn't mention that she told him not to worry about paying it back. Depending on how much money we're talking, the lack of consulting is not the problem. The shit-ass communication is. If it's a large sum, you fucked up twice. If your friend is a sore point in your marriage, hiding what you do with said friend is not a good life choice. It's going to make it worse. Do you hear me? Worse. Knock it off. Stop undermining your marriage. If you have to hide it from your partner, you should not be doing it. And now we'll check out the little update to see what it says. So it says update to answer a few questions that came up in the comments. Sarah didn't ask for $3,000. I estimated that the application fees would be around $1,500 to $2,000, and I added an additional money because I know she won't ask me for money if she needs it. My wife found out from Sarah's friend. Like I said, we were part of the same social circle. My wife hasn't provided any reason why she dislikes Sarah or why she thinks she's in love with me. She said that it's her gut feeling and her gut is never wrong. I've made a few concessions in the past to keep the peace, like not making Sarah my best man at the wedding or part of the wedding party. Not making our child's godmother, although babysits her the most, only hanging out with her when my wife is around. But I couldn't watch someone who is like a bio sister to me suffer because of how my wife feels about her. After reading the comments, I apologised to my wife last night and agreed to the complete separation of finances. She also asked that I have no contact with Sarah going forward. I told her that I need time to think about that. I couldn't stomach cutting off someone who has been part of my life for the past 28 years. She got really upset that I wouldn't agree to this right away and decided to sleep in the guest room. This morning, I received screenshots of text messages between my wife and Sarah that she sent over the week, calling Sarah all sorts of names and berating her. Her words were cruel and her reaction really is out of character. I confronted my wife for sending those messages when I'm the one at fault. She has left the house. I don't know where we go from here, but I'll be logging off for a while to attend my child and prepare for the worst. Thank you all for your judgments. Wow, that took a turn at the end there. I wasn't expecting that, to be quite honest. But what do you guys think of this situation? Let me know in the comments below. And our next story is from Throwaway Convo. Am I the arsehole for telling my wife that I don't have to speak to our daughter until I feel comfortable? Found out a couple of days ago that our daughter, 17 female, is pregnant. I was so angry that I just went numb and walked away. I've never been so disappointed in my life. We used to be super close, but I don't even talk to her anymore. Today, my daughter came over to me while I was watching TV and asked if we were still watching the Super Bowl together. I was going to ignore her, but I told her, this is the last time I'm speaking to you because obviously everything I've been telling you over the years just goes in one ear and out the other. I've never been so disappointed in my life. I told you about safe sex, condoms, birth control. On top of that, you betrayed my trust. You used to tell me everything. I argued with your mother all those times about letting you go to your boyfriend's house because I thought you were responsible and that you would come to me if anything happened. But I was wrong. So from now on, don't talk to me ever again. Anything you want to talk to me about, go tell your mother and have her pass it on to me. Later, my wife comes into my den and asks what happened. I told her to ask her daughter. She said she did, but she couldn't understand her because she was crying so much. I told her what I had said, and she got upset and said that I have to talk to her. I told her, no, I already did, and I'm not talking to her again until I feel comfortable. I don't know when that might be. Maybe never. Edit, our daughter told us she was pregnant not last Friday, but the Friday before that. Like I said, I haven't been speaking to my daughter since then, but my wife used to tell me what was going on until I told her to stop. What I've been told, the boyfriend wants to be a part of my daughter's life and raise the baby. His family is supportive. My daughter and her boyfriend were practicing safe sex and using condoms, but he ran out one day and they decided to use the pull-out method. And that's when I told my wife I didn't want to hear any more. And we'll start off with Who Fears Death saying, you're the arsehole. I'll tell you why, but I'm not talking to you. ETA, I will talk to the rest of you to say, damn, thanks. And Kick Slover says, and quotes, you used to tell me everything. And then says, you berate your daughter for sharing something really important with you. You destroy her for it. You wonder why you aren't close anymore. Think of the impossible standards you've set for her. How about holding yourself accountable for a change? You're the arsehole. Edit, this comment was posted before OP added his edits. I want to clarify that was not referring to teen pregnancy or birth control methods. OP is still the arsehole regardless. Edit 2, some of y'all don't get it. The impossible standard is the daughter being able to talk to OP and trust him. And Dumpster FFF says, you're the arsehole, wow. So you're outsourcing your parenting duties to the good old fashioned silent treatment, huh? Guess what? Accidents happen, and unless you had a steady supply of condoms, made birth control available to your daughter, then I'm not sure how giving her safe sex talks will help much. Safe sex talks need to be paired with making the resources available to young people. If you don't, they're still going to have sex because they're still figuring out what the fuck is going on. She's never had a kid, she doesn't know exactly how hard that can be, especially for a minor. And you decided to make it harder for your temper tantrum. You have proven to your daughter to not share anything with you, because when she does, you walk out on her. Just expect that by the time you're comfortable, you'll turn around and be like, hey, guess what? I'm here emotionally. And she'll be gone, until she's comfortable. She won't know when that might be. Hopefully never. An Impossible Town says, you're the arsehole, you realise that this kind of stuff teens kill themselves over, right? You're acting really immature and selfish and putting a lot of burden on your wife to deal with this. Grow up and act like an adult. And a Stone replies to this saying, also, this is so damaging to your daughter, OP. What she heard from you was, my love for you is conditional. You can do things that make me stop loving you. I will not always be there for you. I will be there for you when it's easy and I feel like it. As a child that heard something similar when she was 7 years old, she will never ever forget this. It hurts and shocks in a way you can't imagine. She will never trust you again. Not really. Also, you can kiss a good relationship with your grandchild goodbye. Now, I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this situation? Let me know in the comments below. Now, once again, guys, thank you for being here today. I hope you did enjoy today's stories. And if you did, you know what to do. Hit that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too. A huge thank you for taking the time out of your day to be here. As I always say, taking 20 minutes and listen to a story or so means the absolute world to me, and hearing what you're doing means even more. So thank you so much for being involved, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love.